And my Lord, my objection to that is when I asked him to put samples together, he completely rejected out of hand on the ground that for him he receives blind samples.
Yes, but his answer is also in relation to the samples, as he has not mentioned, he has not named them. They are blind.
But he has drawn conclusions. But my Lord, that's a different
blind.
objection.
They are blind in the sense that he's maintained the A1 and the A3 that were given when the samples were received.
But my Lord, if I can conclude, on this issue of new examining, any examining a new area, because what Mr. Morgan is saying, my Lord, let us be clear, is that allow me, my Lord, to re-examine on a new area so that they can cross-examine. That is his prayer. And you should say it is just, it is his prayer. And my Lord, what we are saying is, we are objecting to that prayer. He must be limited in his re-examination, particularly of an expert witness.
I have not actually understood the basis of Council Katanga's objection. My Lord, if we may all recall the Osaka standards provided by him, and largely he was drawing an influence of methodology as is practiced in America, according to the standard practice, something like this. And this methodology came during cross-examination. This is a document that we wouldn't have disclosed because it is, first of all, not ours. So for him to demand that he asked us to disclose, we couldn't have disclosed information that is not ours. It is his document that he brought during this examination. And he wrote it to clarify methodology as practiced in other jurisdictions, to compare with what the expert used in his analysis. And that is what we want to clarify, my Lord, that the methodology, even as practiced in America or where, is the same as what he used. And I don't know why he's being uncomfortable with his own literature. If he has brought the literature in cross-examination, it is only fair that we are given an opportunity to clarify in the examination. This is the only opportunity we have to all understand the technical aspect of this. Because before he brought it in cross-examination, he had read it and he had understood. So let us have also an opportunity to have a clarification from the expert. It's all we pray.
Mr. Morgan, was it your prayer, as counsel says, examine new areas?
My Lord, no. I only say, if they think or feel that this is a new area. I don't, first of all, the position that my senior colleague says, this is not a new area. They brought it, and we agree with him that the purpose for bringing it was on method, to clarify on methodology. And the methodology, my Lord, applicable in this paragraph is reflected in this table. So it is unfair to restrict, to say, don't go to the table because we did not refer to it, and yet it is the table which contains the methodology. So my Lord, my prayer was that first, it's not a new area. But if they feel that it's a new area, my Lord, we will not object to them leading further cross-examination on this particular aspect. And my Lord, we concede because we don't want to obstruct the information, the explanation that the expert must give to this court from their own literature. So, my Lord, we pray for your guidance.
So the answer of the witness on 10.1.1.1 is that he used to do this. Where is the area of contention now?
My Lord, the area of contention here is when you look at 10.1.1. It sets a minimum criteria that must be used when making chemical compound identification. It is set in the methodology that has to be applied scientifically if you are convince anyone that what you found is of the right chemical compounds that you are looking for.
So now, 10.1.1.1,
Yes.
criteria 1.
Yes.
Then I remember also reading about quantitative analysis
Yes.
and
Yes.
measurements.
Yes.
So you can also examine.
You said they want that.
He said they did it.
Did you say one?
Yes.
Yes, my lord. Yes.
That's correct.
You cannot say anything. He said they never did it. We closed it.
My Lord, is Mr. Katanga will comfortable that we examine on his own literature and
So we went for 10.1.1, the issue of quantitative measures and validation was made.
Yes.
Did we raise 10.1.1?
No.
No.
But
But you need to answer
were you going,
10.1.1.
but were you going to, you said we didn't propose 10.1.1?
No. He already talked about it in the answer.
So,
My Lord,
somehow
we just want him to clarify
Or
10.1.1 and then 10.1.1.1, and you can only clarify this, my Lord, by making reference in the table, because that table presents
So you're not
the summarized criteria.
Think about
So you're
10.2.
talking about 10.1.1.2. 10.1.1.1 we have accepted that.
Yes.
That one he has explained that he used it.
Yes.
So what would you like to?
My Lord, I'm just drawing your attention.
My Lord, it means 10.2.
Yes,
You first
yes.
talk, my Lord, then you can.
My Lord, he's just going around. He means 10.2.
He's telling you about 10.2.
Talk about a 10.
I mean what I am saying.
So which area would you like now?
10, my Lord, 10.1 is the principal provision, where 10.1.1 are the right.
Yes.
So, when you read 10.1.1, it is provided for the minimum criteria that must be used when making chemical compound identification. It provides for the methodology that you apply for you to arrive at the scientific conclusions of the existence of the chemical compounds. The chemical compounds here, my Lord, are organic, gunshot, residue. And underneath, my Lord, they provide a table which breaks down the criteria. So if you want to know the criteria being talked about in 10.1.1, you have to make reference to the table below, which provides the summary that if this is present and this is present, it means this. And that is where, my Lord, the defense is an encounter.
So Mr. Morgan, you want to go to the table?
The tables. Because you can never explain, you can never explain 10.1.1 or even 10.1.1.1 without making reference to that table.
No, my Lord, my Lord.
Just a minute.
So,
My Lord.
Mr. Kamanda, please.
So, my Lord, this is the same.
So let you pray
Most of blood.
to have it re-examined as a new area.
Most of blood. My Lord, we consider that. Let me make the prayer by citing.
No, it's great. My Lord, I will make a speech.
Let's get informally. It's not a speech. Then you will say something.
Can you oppose? Let's make a speech. But no, the reason why I don't make a speech, even what she has just said, is extremely disingenuous. 10.1.1 has nothing to do with the table.
Let us
10.2.
see if the court to understand.
10.2, my lord, is what talks about the table.
Let us give justice an opportunity. Because we need to appreciate this area. But it's here. You're going to cross-examine which if you feel that you may have to speak by examination on this.
Even on the other one.
So connection.
You don't combine two samples, you combine them on the stand. You combine them in your report.
My Lord, I read at under section 134. Subsection 3 of the Evidence Act. The witness be allowed to explain the applicability of the American Osaka standards provided under paragraph 10, table 3, on page 7 of the Osaka paper, in line of his findings contained in prosecution exhibit 45. And that, my Lord, the defense may be allowed, if they wish, to cross-examine only in respect of this new aspect. Most of that. Doctor, you may please come back. First, tell court your interpretation of the scientific formula, the American scientific formula provided under table 3 of paragraph 10 on page 7.
In table 3, they give categorization of how compounds detected during analysis for chemical residue should be put in context in the interpretation of the findings. Herein, they give two categories of compounds that are listed in the table. And they provide two criteria for the interpretation of the detected substances in relation to this table. So under 10.3.1.1, they state 10.3.1.1, they give the two criteria. One is
First criteria is
at least 2 category 1 compounds,
at least
2 category 1 compounds, with or without the category 2 compounds the residue is characteristic of
with or without
the category 2 compounds. The residue is characteristic of organic gunshot residue. In other words, what they are saying that you get your data and apply this criterion to see what it speaks of your data.
so in respect of that first category. And where can what find category 1 and category 2 just for
This category 1 and category 2 is under 10.3.
you may show what?
It is 10.3.
No. On the table.
Sorry, this one under table 3.
So where there is 1, where
Yes.
do you find the compounds in category 1?
So under category 1, find the following compounds.
So let's deal with the first category. At least 2. At least 2 what?
So at least 2 category 1 compounds
Yes.
with or without the category 2 compounds. The residue is characteristic of organic gunshot residue.
Now, if you apply this formula to your finding, to your findings of the analysis, would you still have found equivocal evidence of gunshot residue?
So if I applied this criteria, say to M3,
In respect of M3 and M1, or any of that.
so let me apply first criterion on M3 or M1. So in category 1 in table 3,
M1 or this?
so if I applied the first criterion on both M1 and M3,
Yes.
I would find that the compound I detect in M3, which is Ng,
Mg.
and the compound I find in M1, which is N-MDPA, are both category 1 compounds.
Therefore,
That would mean that in that case you have the origin of the components being characteristic of organic gunshot residue.
and just for clarity of quote, I want you to confirm if actually NG and NDPA are under what has been classified in category in the category you're dealing with.
Yes, so under category 1, Ng is represented as Mg, and NDPA is represented here with the acronym N-N-O-DPA. N-O-DPA, all caps. The last one in under category 1.
That is what?
The last one under category 1.
Is which one?
That is equivalent to N-NDPA.
But it's a different, it should be of a different concept.
Let me clarify that. So in your report, you use NDPA to refer to.
In nitroso,
If you can speak that.
I know that is under M1, or protected in M1, that is N-nitroso, phenanamine.
So in your report, you use NDPA.
Yes.
So why do you say that in the paper NODPA is the same as NDPA?
My lords, that is defined in table 2 of the same document.
My lord, the definition is in table 2. The document. Table 2 is on which page?
That is page 6.
Where?
If you look at table 2, it has 13 compound, it has NG, it has NC, it has DPA, it has 2 and 4, and then the next compound that is N-nitroso, phenanamine.
My lord, are we there? Great.
Yes,
Which is here,
Here,
N-N-O-D-P-A.
yes,
Yes, sir.
yes,
great. So let's go to the second
criteria.
criteria.
So if you apply the second criteria, which is listed here under 10-10.3.1.2 reads, that's one category 1 compound.
You have to find at least one.
Find at least one category 1 compound. And at least one category 2 compound.
And at least
One category 2 compounds. And the residue would be consistent with organic and short residue.
great. Now I want you still to apply, demonstrate what if you apply the second criteria. Would it still, what finding would it give you in light of your report?
So if you apply the second criteria, without combination, if you apply strictly M3, so in M3,
Strictly on M3.
yes.
Okay. What would it be?
So in M3, I detected that nitroglycerin NG, which is a category 1 compound from table 3 in South Africa.
So you detected NG, which is a
Category
category
1 compound.
1 compound. Yes.
And I detected DPA, which is a category 2 compound.
DPA, which is what does that mean?
That would mean that I fulfill the second criteria where you are required.
What would that mean in relation to whether or not organic gunshot rescue is detected?
So that finding fulfills the second criteria where you're required to have one category 1 compounds and one category 2 compounds for your results to be consistent with the presence of organic country residue.
That's the first one.
Interpreter.
Yeah, yeah.
Very for a short break, but
Yeah, let
that
him-
sentence is just ending.
And where did we meet?
That, you have one category 1 compound and one category 2 compound.
That your results would be consistent with the presence of organic country residue on the test item.
Probably break. And then we will come back at 2. So let's go to
Check, I've sent.